Let's talk. Onsteor is one of the kingdoms in the SCA that does allow for the registry of mottos. And not all kingdoms do this. And the kingdoms that do allow for registry of mottos do not all use the same metrics. So let me preface this entire video by saying what I'm saying here applies in the environment that is an Onsteora, but may not necessarily translate to your group. And another disclaimer I really need to put up is that while this video is about how I chose my motto, it is not about how you can or should choose yours. What I want to do is I want to offer you my insights in the process of how I selected my motto, because I want to offer that up as experience, as data, if you will, that might be able to inform some of your decisions in the SCA as you move forward. You may be given the opportunity to register a personal motto, or possibly select the name of a fighting group or an organization within your local chapter, or possibly design a banner for an army or a household. There are a lot of things you can do that convey a message about the person or people that it's about. And I want you to think about this. So in Onsteora, we are allowed to register a motto upon reaching the rank of grant, receiving your grant of arms. Now, I've had my grant for 10 years now, and I only really just recently sat down to register the motto that I did choose. So yes, I did put it off for a long time. And it wasn't that I necessarily put it off. There was so much hemming and hawing and what do I want to say, and I would come up with an idea and I'd write it down and it sounded great, and then I would stick it on a sticky note on my personal desk, or I would put it on the wall of my home office, and I'd go to bed and I'd wake up the next morning and I'd go about my day, and 12, 14, 18 hours later I'd look at it and I go, oh my God, that sounds snarky as all get out. And I'd tear it up. And I'd do it again. And, the next day or 2 days later or 3 days later, I would look at it and go, oh my God, that sounds arrogant as all get out. And then I would do it again, and a few days or a week later, I'd look at it and go, man, depending on who sees that, that could sound really condescending. And this went on for more iterations than I really want to recount. Picking a motto is hard. And I'll just say this. I don't want to dredge up dirty laundry, but when you're not in the best mental state and you don't have the best relationship with absolutely everyone around you, i.e. you're part of the human condition, realistically, there are plenty of people out there who are kind of ready and willing to put the worst possible spin on anything they see about you. And when you're picking a motto, at least for me, that's something that just kept coming up. It's like, I don't really want to give my detractors ammunition. And yeah, that was a mindset for me. And the motto that I finally chose I could not have picked it 10 years ago. Because the motto that I chose is reflective of a lot of really important, some very hard lessons that I've learned over these past 10 years. About, I want to say it was 7 or 8 years ago, I was called into court. It was at Heraldic and Scribal Symposium down in Ravensfort. And I was called into court by Gabriel and Sonia the First. And they read into law a thistle for heraldry. Now, if you're not from Mount Steora, you have to understand, this is strange. This was really strange at the time. A thistle is a specific discipline, arts and sciences award. I have several thistles. I have a thistle in woodworking. I have a thistle in Bardic. I have a thistle, or this is the thistle in Bardic. This was a thistle in, this was my thistle in heraldry. I have 3 thistles. But, example, thistle in woodworking. That's pretty, and the base mark for a thistle is you have to show interest in an art and you have to demonstrate improvement in skill in that art. Those are the benchmarks for thistle. This is not a particularly, I don't want to diminish thistle, but it's not like some high level. It's an AOA level award for specific discipline. Heraldry is widely, almost universally considered a service in this kingdom. And it's very specifically treated as service, and the heralds are considered, in large part, with a lot of qualifiers and exceptions, part of the services tract. A not small portion of the Pelicans are either heralds or involved in heraldry at some level. So I was like, I got the award. I was grateful. God bless the crowns, the whole 9 yards. But wait a minute. I sat down. I'm like, thistle and heraldry? What? This is a service. We've had this discussion that thistle or a heraldry is a service. How are we doing this? And I talked with several people, including the Crown, after court, and they said something really interesting. In broad terms, they said was, Ivo, you have demonstrated the science of heraldry. You have turned your voice heraldry into a curriculum that you teach repeatedly and consistently to different audiences and get the same results. That is not a service to us. That is a science, and you do it well. So this is a recognition of you developing the science of your voice heraldry. Okay, I was really happy with that. It's not that I was happy with getting the award. I was, but that's not that suddenly made me feel better. It's that, okay, the status of the award is preserved. I'm not representing some fundamental paradigm shift in this award's use. This is still a very specific arts and sciences award. But they were recognizing of heraldry. Now, more specific to that, what they called out were my classes. And I had, and I still do, teach voice heraldry a lot. It's something I enjoy teaching. I teach sight heraldry. That's something I really enjoy doing. I have an online class in sight heraldry. I teach list heraldry, and that's something else that I teach a lot of. I can do a sit-down class on it, or I can 15 minutes for a tournament. Okay, give me your volunteers. We're going to go out in the field. We're going to crash course this, and I will do it. I have done that easily 100 times in the last 25 years, probably the last 20 years. So that is something that I enjoy doing. I do it a lot. So that really, for me, called to my attention that I was making a difference with my teaching. So when I recently sat down to just finally decide on my motto, I wanted a motto that said something substantial and something powerful, not so much about me, but to the people who heard it. And the first thing I decided on was I was going to reference my teaching, and that was to teach some. Because not a lot of people do voice heraldry, and that's okay. My classes are never hugely attended. I don't usually have 30 or 40 people. It's usually more like 3 or 4 or 5. And that's okay. That's fine. I love teaching a class that size. I've never had a problem with that. But it is to teach some. And I really like that. I like the idea of if you want to learn, I'm here. So to teach some, that's the first part. At no point in time was that ever going to be all of it, but that's where I started. And really, the next part came, it really came from the 5 years I was at Gulf Wars. I went back to Gulf Wars. I attended Gulf Wars a couple of times early on in my career. Then I stopped because I was doing other things here that took precedence. And I decided I was invited to go back. And for 5 years, for first two of those years, I assisted in site heraldry at Gulf, which if you've never been to Gulf Wars, that site is a mile wide by 3/4 of a mile tall on the map. So heralding, even part of that is legwork. That is lots of walking, lots of yelling. That is that is the proving grounds for the diehards. So for 2 years, I was the assistant lead site herald for Gulf, and then after that, for 3 years following, I was the lead site herald. I was the guy who coordinated, who taught when necessary, who collated information, who collected the information, who had it written down for his heralds, waiting for them when they showed up, because we were not going to waste any time. My people were showing up. I was going to be ready for them on their schedules. They weren't waiting on me. And then I made sure I got the right people going in each direction. I got the people who had good projection for the big open areas. I had people who had good stamina for the long walks. I had people who had good stamina, but not necessarily the best voices to hit the 5 million points going around Princess Way. I mean, you had to pick your team, and I did it. And I'm here to tell you, one of the heralds who worked with me, now Master Johan, I remember at one point, it was a post on social media. He was just having a bad day and he needed to be cheered up. We all have those moments. And I told him, I said, Johan, you know something? There were 2,800 people at Gulf last year. I put out a call for help site heralding. And you were one of 9 people that showed up. 9. So out of 2,800 people, 9 showed up. By definition, you are better than the top 1% of that site. Help was asked for and you showed up. And that, I am to this day, I mean, even right now, I'm getting goosebumps on my back thinking about it. When I asked for help, there's no payment, there are no rewards, there are no awards. You are going to show up, you're going to walk until your feet hurt. Some of them walk till they had blisters on their feet because it's a long walk. These people were not all spring chickens. Some of them had hip problems and back problems, and they still showed up. That these people would show up to follow my instructions to get this done to this day humbles me just thinking about it. I've honestly had moments, just random moments, where I think about that group of heralds that showed up some of those days. The rain is coming down, it is cold, it is miserable, it is wet, and they showed up with smiles on their faces going, we're ready to do this, let's go. And I have literally broken down crying sometimes, just how immensely proud I was to be part of that and how honored I was that these people were willing to brave some of those conditions because I asked them. I asked and they showed up. It's the most humbling sensation in the world. And that's how I came up with the second phrase. And I said, to teach some, to lead many. Because I've had some amazing times leading heralds. that first war back 10 years ago, I showed up to help herald the Steel and Roses tournament. 175, 180 fighters. We ran 12 or 13 fields the first time out. And we had heralds on every field. And I didn't even start off running the show. It was, I mean, this crop of heralds included an entire slew of peers, a whole bunch of peers. Oh my God, there were enough pelicans there to be a legitimate flock. Bunch of grants, and at the time I was an AO8. That was before I got my grant of arms. And I think 2 or 3 rounds in, it was very clear to everyone there, and they said as much. I didn't put my foot down or anything. They said, he knows what he's doing. Let's call it, we need to defer to him. And I wasn't bossing people around, but I was checking on people. I was saying, okay, here's the assignments. And I was going, how are you doing? You've been standing for an hour. Have you gotten something to drink? Your voice is sounding rough. You want a break? I'll fill in for you. And I had one guy who was like, I need to finish this. And I grabbed his cards and I go get a drink. I got this. Come back in 5 minutes. Get a break. And I heralded 2 rounds for him. And he got a drink, cooled off, came back, sounded great. That's what being a leader to me means. And I was so honored to be able to lead such an amazing group of people that time. And that's what it meant to me. When I say lead, it's not that I want to put the spotlight on me. It's that look at the power of all of these people who've agreed to come together and do something. That was what I was thinking. That's what I think of even now when I say to teach some, to lead many. And this is the part that is the most humbling to me. And really, a couple of videos ago, you know that I was very recently named a Herald Extraordinary. And to call that moment humbling doesn't even do the emotions justice. But I've had so many people who have spoken to me afterward. And it's not just that they say that they find me inspiring. That's a wonderful thing to say, and I'm honored about it. But I've had people say that seeing my work inspired them to get into heraldry. Seeing my work inspired them to do research into something. Seeing my work inspired them to follow my classes and learn how to do something. Seeing something I had done or taught or am doing or whatever inspired action in others. And some of these people are becoming very potent movers and shakers in this kingdom. And again, that's not about look at me. No, that's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying this because the ripple effect is causing good things for a lot of people. It is causing those people who are inspired, they are teaching classes. They are making the SCA a better place where they are. And their efforts are inspiring other people. And that to me is a wonderful thing. And that is why the final phrase is to inspire all. My motto is to teach some, to lead many, and to inspire all. Because that right there, I feel like right now encapsulates my life mission in the SCA. And as long as for me personally, as long as I keep doing things through that lens, as long as I keep that thought close to my heart, I feel like that will help guide me to make my SCA future a better place for both me and all the people around me, and hopefully the wider SCA. That is how I came up with my motto. Does this mean you have to do the same thing? No, and don't even try. Not that I'm going to try and stop you, but this is insanely personal to me. This affects me. My ways very likely won't do the same thing for you. My motto was chosen after, 15 years of playing. If you're choosing anything, whether it's the name of a group, the name of a household, the name of fighting unit, whether it's just the name of a tavern that you're going to hang over a door so people know to come in. If you're going to pick any sort of nomenclature, any sort of phrasing that is being projected out to the public, you have an opportunity to convey a powerful message. Think it through and think of what that message is. And think of how it can be interpreted, how it can be construed to help make sure you send the clearest possible message. Do you want that message to be inspiring? Do you want it to be intimidating? Do you want it to be powerful? Do you want it to be modest? Do you want it to be gentle? Do you want it to be beautiful? You have an opportunity there to say something, unlike just about any other environment. And well, almost any other environment in the SCA, when you pick a name for something or a motto, use it. Use it to make the world a better place, even if it's just the tiniest measure, because it's a wonderful opportunity. It can be a very horrible opportunity. It's like anything. With great power comes great responsibility, and you have the opportunity to screw it up too. That's just the stakes that we're at. But put time and thought into it, put heart into it, and you have the wonderful potential to make some absolutely amazing, an amazing statement to your fellow SCAers. Thank you so much for listening to me babble about this. As you probably guessed, these are all subjects that are close to my heart, and I'm hoping that sharing my very individual, personal stories about this helps to spark conversation and inspiration in others, so that they are better informed or maybe just better inspired in their SCA journey. Until next time, I'll see you at the next event. Goodbye and God bless. If there are two things I've learned that drive videos these days, it's controversy and engagement. Now, I am never going to fly the controversy flag on a regular basis. It's not what I'm here for. It's not the content I want to make, and I really don't think it helps any of us. But let's do engagement. If you like this video, please go down in the comments and leave a comment. Make sure to share the video. And last but not least, easiest of all, make sure to like the video. That helps drive the algorithm. It helps get the video views and helps promote this material. Thank you very much.